Hi everyone! Today I will be sharing with you 25 books I want to read in 2025. I am so excited for the new year. I have so many bookish titles that I can't wait to get to, and so many of them have been on my TBR stacks for years. Quite a few of these also are a little bit more of like new releases, but they are new releases, I think, that all came out last year. So they're backlist titles from last year and beyond. And I'm very, very excited to share with you all 25 books on this list today. Without further ado, let's jump into 25 books I am very excited about reading in 2025. So in 2024, I read quite a few classics that were new to me. I read The Haunting of Hill House, Dracula, Carmilla, and every single classic that I read, I really, really enjoyed. One of the, I guess, categories in my top 25 books are just classics in general. So I'm kind of cheating because I'm including 5 titles for one of the slots for my 25 books, but it's fine, it's okay. So these are the 5 classics that I really, really want to read this year. We have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, East of Eden by John Steinbeck, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, and Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. In my number 2 spot for the 25 books that I want to read in 2025, it's more of a category, just like classics was more of a category, and it is such a niche category. And I have to say, I'm actually kind of combining 3 different categories within the category. I know. We're already getting really complicated. But essentially, in 2025, I want to consume more print journalism and print media. I just find that I scroll way too much on my phone, and I really, really want to consume my news and journalism and different interviews and articles and things like that in print form again. So far, these are a couple of different things that I've been really enjoying. If you're looking for a literary journal or a place that publishes like short stories and poetry exclusively, I have loved the Paris Review for years, and this year I want to try reading all of the different editions of the Paris Review. This comes out 4 times a year. I've just discovered, I think, my favorite magazine of all time. It's called A Rabbit's Foot. This is a magazine that comes out actually 3 times a year, I think. Specifically, this really focuses on cinematography. So there are quite a few articles and interviews from actors, directors, screenwriters, novelists, photographers. I've also been enjoying the New Yorker, the New York Review of Books, which is so much fun. And then finally, I just took out a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. I highly recommend if you're looking for just like an overall source for news articles and some interesting other things. I really have been enjoying this a lot. So yeah, I guess in 2025, a big category is going to be consuming more print journalism and print media. So number 3 and 4 on this list are also categories, but I promise after that, it's just book titles. So category number 3 are short story collections. Here are a couple that I am considering reading for the year. If you have any recommendations, please let me know down below. But here are a couple short story collections that I'm really interested in reading. The first one is The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, and this is by Disha Filia. The next one is The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, and this is by Mariana Enriquez, and I love the cover of this. I've heard such great things about this. Another one that I've heard really great things about is Someone Who Will Love You in All of Your Damaged Glory. I've heard really great things about this book, and I really, really want to pick it up soon. The next one is What It Means When a Man Falls from the Sky, and this is by Leslie Nika Arima, I think. I've heard really great things about this one. And then the final one is called Eyes, Guts, Throat, and Bones, and this is by Moira Fowley. And I think these are like a collection of horror stories or horror short stories, which is very exciting. And then my 4th category is going to be poetry, just like poetry in general. I love reading poetry. These are a couple that I'm interested in possibly picking up. We've got, of course, Mary Oliver, Anne Carson. I really, really enjoy Anne Carson as a poet. Seamus Heaney, which I've heard really, really excellent things about as well. I'm pretty sure Hosier likes this poet, but to be honest, like, I don't know. Maybe I just made that up. And like, if Hosier likes a poet, I feel like I would like the poet, you know what I mean? How could I not? It's Hosier. Next, I have Dearly by Margaret Atwood. This is a book that I was really enjoying, but I only read about half of, so I want to finish her poetry collection. And then this is another one where I've read some of these poems, but I haven't finished it, and this is Brute. This cover is stunning. Oh my gosh. Those are all of the poetry books that I think I want to read in 2025. But again, if you have any recommendations, please let me know down below. Okay, the next group of books are books that I would consider to be like weird literary fiction books. And I freaking love weird literary fiction books so much. I cannot even. Like, I cannot express to you how dear to me Bunny is by Mona Awad. So good. Like, the weirder the better. You know what I mean? So here are a couple of weird literary fiction books that I have very, very high hopes for in 2025. The first one is called Cursed Bunny, and this is by Sophie McIntosh. So this is following a woman who feels kind of like lost and stuck in life, and then this very strange and charismatic couple moves into her small town, and she's slowly like sucked into their, I don't know, relationship or like who they are, and weird things start happening in the town. I love that everyone is saying that the vibes are like Saltburn. I'm excited for this fever dream. The next one is Chlorine, and this is by Jade Song. I actually purchased this 2 years ago when I was in New York with my friends, and I've wanted to read this ever since. This is about a high school student who is on a swim team, and she apparently starts to become a mermaid, or she thinks that she is becoming a mermaid. I think that this book also deals with trauma, and so definitely check trigger warnings, but this is supposed to be one of those books that kind of combines a little bit of surrealism with some hard-hitting topics, and I think it's gonna be great. I've heard excellent things about this book. Ah! And look! New York! A little New York souvenir. That makes me emotional. Okay. The next one is a book that I've heard a lot of people have described as quirky and really funny and really odd. And this one is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, and this is by Emily Austen. Love the vibes, love the cover. This is about a woman who feels really, again, lost in life. And she goes, I think, to find some free therapy from a local church, but something is lost in translation, and they think that she's there for a job, and they hire her. And so now she is trying to help other people. I think it's just supposed to be really quirky, really, really funny. There's supposed to be a lot of deadpan humor. I don't know. I think it's gonna be really great. It says on the back, a brilliant, hilariously poignant novel about the fragility and magic of being alive. And then the next one is, I think, the only Mona Awad book that I have not read thus far, and it's called Allswell. This is following a professor who I think teaches Shakespeare at a college, and then the play that she is putting on is like slowly taken over by all of the students, and then like some mysterious strangers step in with some magic and surrealism. So I think we're on like number 9, if I'm getting this correct. Number 9, I have 2, and number 10, I have 2 books. I know, I'm sorry. But in number 9 for 2025, I wanna read Joan Didion and also Eve Babbitt's, which I feel they're kind of like synonymous with each other, so I think it's okay that I paired both of these in one slot. Maybe it's not, I don't know. Joan Didion and Eve Babbitt's were kind of considered like the it girls. In the 1960s, 1970s, they wrote a lot of nonfiction and also a lot of fiction, and they just seem effortlessly cool. I've wanted to read their work for a really, really long time, and I decided to start with both of these. The first one is by Joan Didion, and it's called The White Album, and I think this is actually a collection of her essays, and I think they are nonfiction, if I'm getting that right. And then this one by Eve Babbitt's is called Slow Days and Fast Company. If I'm getting this correct, and I really don't know if I am, apparently Eve Babbitt's had it bad for a guy, and to get his attention, she wrote this. What a cool girl, you know what I mean? It says, no one burned hotter than Eve Babbitt's. She seduced seemingly everyone who was anyone in Los Angeles for a long stretch of the 1960s and 70s. One man proved elusive, however, and so Babbitt's did what she did best. She wrote him a book. Slow Days, Fast Company is that book. And then in the number 10 spot is going to be just the category of memoirs. I have been really, really enjoying reading more nonfiction. Last year, I read quite a few nonfiction books that I really, really enjoyed. And this year, I want to focus more on memoirs. These are the 2 that I think I want to read. Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner is one of the ones that I really want to prioritize. This focuses on a mother-daughter relationship when the mother finds out she is really sick and she has cancer. I've heard this is very emotional and moving. And then the other one is Educated, and this is by Tara Westover. And this book is about a woman who apparently went on to study at some of the most prestigious schools in the entire world. But I believe she actually was homeschooled off and on from her family who didn't believe in traditional education. I don't really know more than that, but I'm just like very, very interested to kind of see what this woman has to say. And I've heard really, really fantastic things about this memoir. The next two spots, 11 and 12, are actually both books that I saw two of my best friends loved from last year. I sneakily added them to the TBR because I feel that my friends have very good taste. The first one is from my bestie, Kaylin, from Kaylin Abridged. This was one of her favorite books, if not her favorite book from last year, and it's called My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. I have heard such good things about this, and I've been wanting to read this, I think it's like a quartet, the Neapolitan Quartet, for such a long time. And then I saw her Goodreads review of this, and I was like, okay, this is my sign. I have to read this in 2025. This book is following two best friends, and they are growing up in Italy. I think they both come from different backgrounds, and it's just about how they stay friends, how they fight, and how the complications of life and like their upbringing kind of play a role in their friendship as it develops over time. And then this other book, my other best friend Sabine loved last year. I think she gave this a 4.5 if I'm not mistaken. I loved Station 11 when I read it. I think I gave it like 5 stars. So when she said that she really loved this one, I had to pick it up. It's called Sea of Tranquility, and this is by Emily St. John Mandel. This is another post-apocalyptic kind of like futuristic story, I believe, and it is again kind of talking about humanity and art, and I'm pretty sure a plague is involved in this one as well. And it says on the back, Emily St. John Mandel gives us a novel of art, time travel, love, and the plague that takes the reader from Vancouver Island in 1912 to a dark colony on the moon 500 years later. Coming in at number 13 is going to be Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I love Sally Rooney. I have really enjoyed every single book that I have read from this author. My favorite is still Normal People. That book will just forever have like the #1 spot in my heart. So Intermezzo is following two brothers, and it's about their relationship with each other, their relationship with grief, because I think they're both grieving the loss of a parent, and also their relationships with their partners and significant others. I've heard this is very, very emotional. I love Sally Rooney because I feel like she portrays relationships and like human emotion and depth at a level that I feel not a lot of authors really can ever do. She's just very insightful, and I really, really love her work, and I'm excited to pick this up, and I am excited to cry. In slot number 14 is going to be a reread for the year, and that is one of my very favorite books of all time, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is actually a book that I will be reading with my patrons for February, and I am so excited to be reading this book. This is a book about the relationship between Patroclus and Achilles, and I just love it. It's my favorite love story of all time. They start off as friends, they develop feelings for each other, and it's about their tragic love story, and it's everything. Okay, if you have not read this book, it's worth the hype. I love it so much. Coming in at number 15 is going to be Housemates, and this is by Emma Copley Eisenberg. So this book is a book that actually came out last year, and I really, really wanted to get to it last year. It's a road trip book, which I love, and it's following two roommates. I think one of them inherits a house, and they decide to go on a road trip across America to see this house, and it's about them becoming closer. It's examining their friendship, it's examining potentially like the love that they start to develop for each other, and then it's also about them exploring art in America. I don't know, I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be really great, and I've heard wonderful things about this. Coming in at number 16 is going to be my first Dolly Alderton book. I've been wanting to read from this author for quite a while. She has written quite a few nonfiction essays that so many people have really, really loved and enjoyed, but I'm actually going to go with her fiction book, and it's called Good Material, and I've heard great things about this. So this is all about a breakup, but it's actually all following the guy's perspective, which I'm actually really, really interested in. It's about how he grieves love and how he's trying to move on from this relationship that meant a lot to him. I'm a sucker for like a good heartbreak breakup story. It always gets me, you know? And I feel like it's always really relatable when you see somebody really going through it. You're like, oh, that was me last week. Next up, I would like to read Sula by Toni Morrison. I've wanted to read Toni Morrison for years. I've been very intimidated, but I've heard really, really great things about this one. And so this is the one I think I'm gonna start with. And this is following two best friends. And apparently they start off as best friends and then they become enemies. That's all I know. I think this is gonna be really great. Also, I've heard that this friendship is literally the worst. Next up is a book that I have heard so much buzz and hype about. It's called All the Lovers in the Night, and this is by Miko Kawagami, I think. And this is following a woman, I think in her 30s? Yeah, in her 30s. One day she is walking past a storefront and she sees her reflection and she realizes that she doesn't really like the person that she's become. She feels like she's not taking a lot of risks and she feels really stuck in life, and so she tries to change her life, but she doesn't know where to start. And so we're kind of just following her journey as she's trying to connect, I guess, with herself and with what she wants in life. And I feel like that's really relatable because I feel like so many of us can feel lost at times. I know I definitely have felt lost at times. And so yeah, I can't wait to start this one. And I have a feeling this will also make me cry. Coming in at number 19, I think, is going to be The Safekeep, and this is by Jal van der Wooden. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. This sounds very fascinating. This came out last year. It won so many awards. It's been getting so much buzz and hype and praise, and I immediately had to add it to my TBR. This book is following Isabel, and Isabel is trying to upkeep her mother's old house in the Dutch countryside, and her brother, Louis, drops off his new wife, Eva. Isabella does not like Eva at all. Eva, she thinks, is really lazy. She sleeps in. They can't connect at all. And then somehow, I think they become friends, and then I think potentially more than friends. I'm really excited. I've heard that this is super emotional. Listen, 2025, I want all of the books that are gonna make me feel things, you know? Coming in at number 20 is going to be Small Things Like These, and this is by Claire Keegan. So this book takes place in Ireland in the 1980s, and we are following a man named Bill, and Bill makes a discovery one night that I think turns his town upside down. I really didn't wanna know a lot because look at how tiny this book is. So I wanted to go into this book not knowing as much as possible so that I wasn't spoiled for anything. So many people have said that this is incredibly moving, that the writing is really poignant. I'm actually reading Claire Keegan's short story collection, Antarctica, right now, and I love her writing style. I think it's really sharp and really staccato. I can't wait to read it, and I can't wait to let you know all of my thoughts. In slot 21, we have Martyr, and this is by Kaveh Akbar. I have heard such good things about this. So this is another book that came out last year, and so many people have said that this is incredibly moving and really beautiful. We're following a man who feels, I think, a little bit lost in life, and he is trying to create art. It says that Cyrus is a drunk, an addict, and a poet whose obsession with martyrs leads him to examine the mysteries of his past. And I think it's just about him trying to find his way in life. He's grieving the death of his mom. So many people have said that this is just stunning. So I can't wait to read it. Coming in at number 22, I think, is going to be The Friend, and this is by Sigrid Nunz. You know it's gonna make you cry because there is a dog on the cover. This is about a woman whose friend sadly passes away. I think she is left his dog, or maybe she just starts to take care of his dog while trying to figure out what she's going to do with the dog. And it's about her grieving the loss of her friend while also connecting with this dog. And I don't know, I love books about animals. I think it's gonna be so emotional and so beautiful, and also is probably going to make me want to hug my dogs very tight. Now, the next one is going to be by Kurt Vonnegut, and it's called Cat's Cradle. Kurt Vonnegut is one of my very favorite authors. I read Slaughterhouse-Five when I was in college, and it really changed, I think, my perspective on literature. It's had a really significant impact on my life, actually, and there are quite a few quotes from that book that I still want to get tattooed onto my body somewhere. But I've only ever read that book from the author, and so I really want to read all of his books someday. And in 2025, I want to read Cat's Cradle because this is also considered to be a really, really great book. So it says on the back that this is a satirical commentary on modern man and his madness, and it's also an apocalyptic tale. Coming in at number 24 is going to be a book that I've had on my shelves for forever, and this is finally going to be the year I read it, and it is called Almond. Now, what's interesting is I've actually had this book on my shelves for a really long time, but it's just recently been gaining a lot of buzz and things on the internet. A lot of people are picking it up and reading it and loving it. I forgot all about it. I bought it quite a while ago, but I just sort of forgot that I had it. And then I saw all of these people reviewing this book and I was like, oh, I really need to prioritize that. So this is about a person named Yoon-jae. I hope I'm saying that right. And he was born with a brain condition called alexithymia. And apparently this condition makes it so that he doesn't really feel emotions and he does not have a lot of friends. And then one day, I think like a rebellious teen kind of like moves in and they form an unlikely friendship. I've heard that this is beautiful and moving and stunning, and I love books about friendship and I'm very excited. And finally, number 25 is going to be Sunburn, and this is by Chloe Michelle Hawthorne. I've heard really, really wonderful things about this. We're following Lucy in the 1990s. She lives in Ireland. She feels very out of place in her small town. She feels like a lot of her ideas and the things that she wants are not necessarily the things that are expected of her. And then this is about the summer that she feels a spark and a connection with her best friend, Susanna. And it's about the summer together where they are kind of falling in love for the first time. I love coming of age stories like this. I also love friends to lovers stories. I think it's gonna be really beautiful. I hope this one doesn't break my heart. I'm hoping for a happy ending for Lucy, but we shall find out, I guess, together. Those are all 25 books that I wanna read in 2025. I would love to hear from you guys though. Let me know, what is one book you really can't wait to read in 2025? And if you've made it to this point of the video, also please leave me a star emoji. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful 2025. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon members over in Fox and Wood as well. I love you guys so much and I am so thankful for all of your support. I'll see all of you very soon with a new video. And until next time, book lovers, keep your head in the clouds and your heart in a book, and I will chat with you very soon. Bye!
I stand by you when you're falling, when the river is calling. Said I love you forever. We can make it together. What goes up must come down. There's lots of friendly faces all around.